Fashion has been in this era of simplified branding. You can probably picture what a fashion logo looks like right now. Thinking of the black and white, bold, sans serif typography and stoic art direction. And this isn't a trend that we're just seeing in smaller fashion labels, right? This is something that's really got its grip on the fashion world as a whole. Some of the biggest fashion names look like this. Saint Laurent looks like this. Balenciaga looks like this. And Tom Ford looks like this. I can go on and on and on. And now we have a new addition to this trend of simplification and branding with fashion, and that new addition is Woolrich, the American outerwear maker. But before we get into it, be sure to support the show by giving this episode a like, leaving a comment, and of course, by subscribing. This is Ziggy the Designer, the show where we talk about the world of graphic design and the people that make it move. Design is all around us, so we might as well talk about it. So this Woolrich rebrand was done by Michael Suter, and after doing some research on him, I'd say he's a good artist. According to his website, he has over 40 years of global experience in branding, design, and the arts, and that shows in his portfolio, and much of the work in his portfolio is very deep in the world of fashion, having worked with brands like Louis Vuitton, Todd Snyder, and Rimmel. Now, as good of an artist as Suter is, as experienced as he is and as smart as he might be, Michael Suter and Woolrich, let's not forget, Woolrich approved this rebrand. They absolutely dropped the ball on this project. So let's get into it. Woolrich is an American brand founded in 1830, so it's almost a 200-year-old company. They are known for their coats, winter accessories like hats and socks, but they are most known for their iconic buffalo check, buffalo plaid pattern, which has seen imitators far and wide, right? So this is a brand with heritage on the American frontier. They've even outfitted the American military. The brand is tough, right? It's rough, it's gritty, and now so when you put this type of brand in the hands of someone that has pretty much only exclusively worked with high fashion, you get something that looks like this. What we have is a logo that follows the trend that we're seeing in fashion, and it's that bold sans serif typography. The logo is pretty much only ever seen in black and white, and the art direction is, let's be honest, the art direction is quite emotionless here. Suter writes about the project: the logo blends modernity with heritage, and that it is inspired by nature and contemporary technology. Well, in that case, I guess Saint Laurent is also inspired by nature, right? And Balenciaga and Celine and Givenchy, they're all inspired by nature too, right? You see where I'm going with this. Where are the cues to nature in this logo? You are leading the brand with the sans serif typeface that makes no visual reference to nature whatsoever. Where is it? And heritage. I'll admit, there is a cue to Woolrich's heritage in this logo, but I really had to do my research to find it. If I had to guess, the reference to Woolrich's heritage come from these tags and Woolrich garments from the 1980s. There's a problem with that. And the problem is that I had to do research in order to figure that out. A big part of branding is storytelling. You are telling a company's story in a matter of seconds, right? Because people see things in a matter of seconds. And if consumers have to do research to understand this incredibly short story that you're trying to tell, then your story is just ineffective. If you're inspired by heritage, show us. If you're inspired by nature, show us. Look, if Michael Suter came out and just plainly said, hey, I simplified the logo so that Woolrich can stand amongst other premium fashion labels in the market, great. Right? Like we'd get it, because that's what premium high-end fashion looks like right now. But what Suter does is he tries to sell this logo as something unlike anything we've ever seen in the world of fashion, when in reality, it is exactly like everything else we are seeing in the world of fashion today. What I would have loved is to see the brand dive into their heritage even further. So many of their products and so many of their iconic pieces stem from old heritage lines. Their buffalo check, their buffalo plaid, the thing that they're known for has been tied to the brand for forever. So why not lean into that heritage? Their old classic wordmark, which I personally love, arguably has more equity with consumers than any of the sans serif work that the brand has. And no, going back to the script won't, cheapen the look and feel of the brand. I think it can strengthen the brand because it communicates to consumers, hey, we're Woolrich, this is who we are, and we are proud and comfortable with it. Instead of what we have now. What we have is an iconic heritage American brand trying to cosplay as a European luxury brand. And that imitation, let's be real, it's an imitation. It cheapens the brand more than any script typeface ever will. Ultimately, I see Woolrich going the way of Burberry. In 2018, Burberry went through a rebrand exactly like this, and it failed spectacularly. They realized that their brand has more power in their heritage rather than trying to be this cutting-edge fashion label. So they rebranded to bring part of that heritage back, and they've been much more successful with this look over the one that they came with in 2018. I expect Woolrich to make this exact correction very soon because the people at Woolrich know better than this. So what does this mean for the world of graphic design? This Woolrich rebrand is the result of a larger issue in the design world as a whole, and that is the continued trend of oversimplification in branding, especially in fashion. Now, I'm a proud graphic designer, right? But I'll say it. I'm not afraid to say it. Fashion people, you're supposed to be the cool ones. You're supposed to be the ones telling us what looks good and what doesn't. You're supposed to be the trendsetters. You're supposed to be the ones that know aesthetic inside and out. So why do you continue to let stuff like this slide, especially in your industry? You are doing a disservice to the design community as a whole by letting this trend continue. Not only do these simple logos devalue the great work that's happening in fashion design right now, they also devalue the work of graphic designers. It makes all of our work look cheap. And it leads people to say things like, I could have done that. And we all know how much we love that phrase. Now, I'm not in the fashion community, right? I tried to get in, they didn't accept my application. So I don't know what's going on over there. But whatever it is, they need to figure it out. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. That's all I have for you. Be sure to give this episode a like, subscribe, and of course, be sure to share this episode out. In fact, share this with that really fashionable coworker you have. We all have one. I've been Ziggy the Designer. If there are 2 things you need to know about me, it's that 1, I love design. And 2, I'm very opinionated. I'll talk with y'all later. Bye-bye.